Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to this weekend. What a week it has been. Oh boy. We got an election tomorrow. So we got that to look forward to. Then finally, finally, it's all done. No more campaigning. We can complain about whoever wins. That's fine. But yeah, we're there. We're finally there. We're finally there. That means next week I can remove that one segment from the news where we look to see what's going on the hill. Well, not to say that there won't be stuff going on the hill. There probably will be, but yeah, it's good. It's good. So good to be back. Of course, we missed last week's this week because I was feeling a little bit down on the weather. It always happens whenever I go to the Ottawa hospital. I always catch something. So, but it is good. It is good to be back, and I'm looking forward to this afternoon. I think we're going to have a fantastic show. All right. Right off the bat, Jonathan, first in the house. Am I late for election day? No, it's funny. And every time I hear the word election day, I always think of if you guys like the 80s music, if you guys remember, there was a little splinter group by the name of Arcadia. They had a song called Election Day. Now, Arcadia is kind of an interesting thing. Duran Duran, a big name in the 80s, they decided to take a wee bit of a break. So the lead singer, Simon Le Bon, he formed up Arcadia. They had Election Day. And of course, John Taylor and I think, I can't remember which other one. The other one with John Taylor, they went over and joined up with Robert Palmer to create, what was that? That other group there, Some Like It Hot. They had Power Station. That was the name of them. So yeah, anyway, whenever I hear Election Day, I always, for some reason, go straight back to that one song. I'll have to listen to it tomorrow once. All right. Stan says, hello, all. Bismarck, he says, is the election over yet? Can I come out of hiding? Oh, and happy Sunday. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can come out of hiding. It's fine. It's fine. We got one more day. Bleak says, hey, all. And we got Rory in the house. Afternoon. Sad and angry day in Vancouver. Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely awful what happened last night in Vancouver. And, I'd hate to, I don't want to, I'd hate to see that becoming a regular thing in Canada. I know I think we had an occasion, actually, there was somebody who did that in Toronto. What was that? Probably 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago. But yeah, no, what happened in Vancouver last night? Absolutely terrible. Not a great way to end a campaign, that's for sure. Yeah, I definitely, my heart goes out to the folks in Vancouver for sure. Holy banana bread. Not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. All right, we got Philly in the house with a hello, y'all. And Bismarcky, there we go. Yes, it was the other Taylor, Andy Taylor. So there we go. John and Andy Taylor. Not brothers though. Let's see here. I'll never understand what is wrong with people these days. I know. I don't know. Some people are they're just not wired right. And yeah. It's not good. It's not good. Obviously what happened yesterday did not make my news. And it's good. I don't want to talk about something so depressing like that. Instead, we'll talk about Donald Trump. Oh, okay. That's another level of depressing, but someday, I remember the day we actually had one Sunday where I didn't have any news at all because it was such a slow news week, nothing really important. That was fantastic. I would love to see another week like that happen, but I have a feeling it's going to be a while before that will happen. Roku says, happy Sunday, but sad for sure. This is not the Canada I grew up in. No. I mean, all right. So I grew up in Nova Scotia, and quite literally, we didn't lock our doors. That was the community that I lived in. Like you could just walk into somebody's house. It was fine. You could phone somebody up on the phone and get the wrong number, and by the end of that conversation, have a dinner invite. I mean, that was the Canada that I came from, but it has changed. It has changed big time for sure. So yeah, I'm not liking it. Oh, I I have been I have been learning a little bit more about our friend there, the Nightbot. And check this out. If I type in exclamation mark Discord, all right, this should work. We're gonna find out. All right, this should call on the Nightbot, and the Nightbot should here. Oh, there's the Nightbot. Should give the Discord link. So I'm gonna start programming things in here. So when you guys want links to different things, that way there I can just quickly type it in. I think mods can do it as well. I don't know if it'll work for a regular person or not. Why don't one of you guys try? Why don't you guys just type in exclamation Discord, see if it works? I'm kind of curious now. Maybe it'll work. I'm still learning. I'm still learning the Nightbot. I did try to find. I want to change the name of Nightbot. I'd like to change the name and have a different little icon as well, but I haven't figured that part out yet. I haven't quite got there yet, but I would like that because then we could have like a beaver bot or something like that. Oh, I saw Bismarcky. So yeah, you guys can type it in too. So yeah, if I'm chatting along and somebody's like, "What's the Discord?" Anybody can just type in exclamation Discord. It'll bring it up. This is cool. I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. David says, "I'd be happy to talk about DJT. He's a lot better choice than KH." Let's see. King of Day, welcome back. Welcome back. Hello, everyone. It has been a while. Good to see you. Good to see you for sure. David says, "Many years of liberal government, and here we are. Open the doors and let the world bring their problems here." Yeah. We don't need that. We don't need that. Now, I did ask a question here on the pinned message. How sick are you guys of the election? 1 to 10, 10 being it's done. It's already done for me. I can't stand it anymore. I'm just kind of curious. How annoyed are you? I'm probably I love elections, but I'm probably at a 6. I'm probably at a 6, and it's like, okay, it's time. It's time to be over. Rory says, Nightbot's head is similar to Vincent. Vincent. Is that the robot from Black Hole? From because Disney made that big movie back when Star Wars was big. I think they called it the Black Hole, and they had a few different robots. And I think Vincent was a robot on that one, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. Bismarcky says 10, and Roy says, "I wish they wouldn't keep pushing the polls." And Rory says, yes. All right, so Vincent, the robot from the Black Hole. There we go. I honestly didn't think the Black Hole never got a lot of credit for being good, but I didn't think it was that bad. To be honest, it was okay. It was okay. There was a lot of bad stuff in the 70s, so what can I say? So yeah, Bismarcky says 10. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of 10s. I have a feeling that there will definitely be a lot of 10s. King of Day says, voting tomorrow. I didn't have the opportunity to do advanced voting. Yeah. Now, they had record numbers. I believe the number was like 7.5 million Canadians got out to vote already. That's a lot. That's a lot for sure. I did before even before the advanced polls. I just did the mail-in. It's so easy. Quite literally, you have to scan your ID. That's about the hardest part. You scan your ID. A couple of days later, you get your voting package in the mail. You just fill it out. It's got a self stamp on it, and I quite literally 1 block from my house, there's a Canada Post box. That's how easy voting is. So yeah, I've got no excuse to never vote, especially with it being that easy. So yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward. Let's see. David says, feed the population drugs and you get a lot of wackos, but that's the desired outcome for the government. Yeah, there's a lot of drugs out there. A lot of drugs. I'll admit, I'm completely drug free. Why do I have to admit that? But I've just never I've never really been tempted at all. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy about that. But yeah, I know a lot of people have absolutely destroyed their lives, and yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Rory says 7.5 million voters were either terrified liberals or hopeful conservatives. So, or it's probably a mixture. It's probably a mixture of both. The only thing, I guess, the only downside to voting early is if your candidate all of a sudden comes up in a scandal after you've already voted, then it's like, what can I do? Holy banana bread. MSTE pays 66 cents this month. Ooh, that's interesting. That's definitely interesting. Yeah. So you guys voted, by the way. You guys voted. The channel members voted for the final video of the month, and they wanted basically some high income ETFs that are good enough to be put into a retirement portfolio. So that one I scripted it today. It'll be filmed tomorrow morning, filmed and edited. By tomorrow afternoon, the channel members will be able to watch it. But yeah, that'll be available for you guys on Tuesday. And then after that, yeah, the 0 to 100K challenge, because that's now back to a monthly cycle. All right, guys, let's hit that first news article. And the beavers are gone. The beavers are gone from the news articles because they changed. ChatGPT went and changed its video thing, and it doesn't make cute beavers anymore. It makes them look kind of like demented Berenstain bears. So we're just going back to some regular old stuff. I'll get a little more creative, and I got to do a little bit more work to get to do these, but I'm okay with it. I am okay with it. So our first story of the day, of course, is we had on Friday, we had the retail sales report drop. So year over year, we are looking at 4.7%. Now, they had actually forecast 3.9%. So it did come in stronger. Now we are talking about February sales as well. So one of the reasons it may have come in stronger is people buying stuff before all of the retaliatory tariffs and things got into place. So that's kind of, I think, a big factor for sure. Month over month, though, it was down. It was down 0.4%. And that was actually what we were expecting. Now, March, we do have some preliminary data for March. It does look like retail sales have gone up. So we're looking at about 0.7% for March. And we were forecasting 0.1. So that's actually not too bad. Now, results overall for February, they were they were lower in 4 of the 9 subsectors. So, or you could turn that around and say that they were higher in 5, but in 4. Some of the drop that we did see attributed to new car dealerships. They experienced a 3% drop. Also, some of the motor vehicle and parts dealers, they were also down 2.6%. Although sales at food and beverage retailers, they were up. They were up a good 2.8%. So that is absolutely not too shabby. Rory, what do you say? You could use the Saskatchewan gopher in your stories. It's one of the things I remember when I used to live in Calgary. Everywhere you go, I would see these little prairie dogs. They'd be popping up out of the ground all over the place. So they're definitely cute for sure. But I don't know if I want to use them. All right. We'll push. Let's push into our second story. We got we got a made in China. We got a made in China story. So a lot of Chinese e-commerce sellers, they're turning to Canada right now to hoard their goods until, well, until those US tariffs lower. So pretty much in a nutshell, it's like, let's ship it all over to Canada. We'll just sit it in warehouses in Canada. Then once we get a resolution to this tariff between the US and China, then we can just bring it into the US. So that's kind of what we've been looking at. So we've actually seen a 50% jump in the number of Chinese products that have been flooding into Canadian warehouses. More than half of the top third-party sellers on Amazon. So basically, a lot of these are sellers who sell all kinds of Chinese stuff on Amazon. That stuff all ships out of China. Walmart also has 28% of active sellers shipping from China. But the number itself, it's trended aggressively upwards. So that's still a lot of space. So they are using something called bonded warehouses. So they basically allow for duty-free storage of items until they are released for sale. So they can basically just sit in there duty-free. They can deal with all of the duties and everything else when they finally pull them out of these warehouses to send down to the States. Provided, of course, those tariffs drop. Now, Trump has been signaling, that he could be ready to back down on some of the China tariffs. And this strategy, it's actually not a bad strategy if you sort of think about it. I mean, because if these tariffs all of a sudden start backing off, instead of having to ship these items all the way from China again and take all that time, it's in Canada. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump across the border. So that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Now, Canadian warehouses, they will absolutely sigh. They'll sigh some relief for this. They're getting a little congested with all of the products from China. So hopefully, we get some better news on these tariffs. That's what I'd like to see for sure. Paul has entered the house. Good afternoon, Paul. All right. Now, I guess we've already been kind of talking about this. This is kind of our formal little news from the hill. So yeah, we got Polyev and Carney playing darts. Like, somehow I think if you actually put the two of them actually in a bar together to play darts, I don't know how civil it would be. It might be civil. It might be civil. It's hard to say. Of course. Looking at our friends, we got, of course, the poll tracker. How sick are you guys of the poll tracker? I know Bismarcky's very sick of it. We did see a little tiny bit of a movement up once again on the Liberals over the. We'll only have to look at one more of these tomorrow. Yeah. So right now it's still projecting a Liberal majority, but there's room for it to sway back and forth. And I always say that when it comes to the poll tracker, you got to take a certain level of salt with some of the numbers. They may turn out to be right, they may turn out to be wrong, but what's important is looking at the trends. And you can see right here, we got a little bit, the Liberals have backpedaled quite a bit since their peak. So the Liberals are on a downward trend. The Conservatives are on an upward trend. So the Conservatives have been picking up some steam in the end. That's when you want to do it. The question, and here's what the question is going to be, is there, for the Conservatives, is there enough time for them to gain back a bit more ground? Of course, the Conservatives are cheering. They're definitely cheering for the NDP and the Bloc, and they have both. Well, especially the Bloc. The Bloc has picked up quite a bit, probably quite a bit more support in Quebec, and they're hoping that the NDP can also pick up a little more steam, pull a little bit more of that vote out of the Liberals. So we'll see how this all turns out tomorrow. I know we've had a lot of, the media has been obsessed about Carleton, whether or not Pierre can hold it. I think Pierre will have no problem holding Carleton. He may not win it with as big of margin as he hoped, but I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. Now he's actually due to be in Ottawa tonight. I believe he's got a rally at 8 p.m. I actually received a text message inviting me to it, but yeah, I don't even know where this place is. So I'm probably not going to be going to a rally tonight. So we got Mary in the house with a hello all. And Mary is our official captain of the like button. So guys, hit the like button. I'll have some coffee while you guys are hitting the like button. I probably should go big screen now. Oh, that is so good. And Mary, you gotta let me know what you want. Because Mary won our contest, our swag contest for last month, and I still don't know. Just send, Mary, and just let me know what you want. Send me just send me an email to admin@mountainfinance.ca, and I'll get that taken care of, and I'll get the link back to you right away as soon as we know. Or if you want something a little bit different, like if you want something that's not on the site, let me know. I'll make it for you. It's funny. I was yesterday. I think it was when I was exercising, because I exercise about an hour a day. I was thinking about t-shirt ideas, and I thought it might be funny to make one that says, Mary said hit the like button as a t-shirt. I don't know. Maybe you want that. If that is the case, let me know. But I'm mulling that one over. I think that would be kind of funny. All right. Rory says, but look at that 90-degree turn for the libs. Trump effective or something else? Yeah, like right now, I mean, Donald Trump is, I know they had an interview with him the other day, and he said, I'm staying out of it until after the election. He said he didn't even want to comment on the Canadian election right now. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. We're going to have to see how that goes. I imagine once Tuesday hits. Now, one thing that wasn't good for Carney this week is word came out that in that call that he had with Donald Trump, that Donald did bring up that he still wanted to make Canada the 51st state. And that was a piece of information that that Carney did not reveal after that call. So, it's like he got his hands caught in the cookie jar a little bit with that. It doesn't seem to have hurt him too much in the polls, but nonetheless, I guess a liberal getting their hands caught in the cookie jar is not that unusual of an image. Paul says thumbs up. There we go. Let's see. Paul says, Stack Cloud said it cost him $250 per day to call people for an IVR poll. Really interesting. I got polled once during this election cycle. I got one of the call people, whatever. I don't know who, but yeah, no, I got hit once. And it's the first time I think in my life I've never ever been included in a poll. So I like it. Jonathan says, Mary needs a hit the like button hat. Hey, if that's what Mary wants, Mary, let me know. If that's what you want, we will make it happen. And I should make a hit the like button macro for Mary, because those of you who came in late, I did one for the Discord. So now if you type in !Discord like this, it will the Nightbot will bring back the link for the Discord. So we could do one of these as well for the like button and for anything really. So yeah, we'll make the Nightbot work. We're gonna make the Nightbot work for sure. All right, holy banana bread. All right, let's move into our let's get back here. We'll move into our next story. All right, it's our front lines of the trade war. Interesting. I got a couple of stories in here for you today. So the number of cross-border travelers who are going from Canada to the U.S. dropped by nearly 900,000 in March compared to the same month last year, which that's basically a 17% extra decline. March is typically it's actually quite a big month for Canadians heading down to the US because of spring break. So yikes. The US is definitely feeling it. A funny thing is, more Canadians went to the US in March of 2022, and that's when we just reopened the border. But there were still some travel restrictions back then too, but we still had more people going to the US. So we were still in pandemic mode at that point. So definitely not good. Now, we talked a little bit about China, how they're putting all of the stuff in the Canadian warehouses. But now here's another interesting move that China has made. They're looking to create some exemptions for some U.S. imports from their, because they have a retaliatory 125% tariff right now. So they're going to exempt some items. And how they're doing it is they're basically asking some of the Chinese firms to identify critical goods they need to have levy-free, according to those businesses. Basically, they're looking for things that they can't get anywhere else. So if you got a business and it's like, I rely on this product from the States, there's nowhere else I can get it, China's looking to probably exempt that from tariffs. So that way it helps the Chinese businesses, it helps them function a little bit. So yeah, pretty good. Now, right now, they have a list of 131 categories of products that are under consideration for tariff exemptions. They have not released the list to the media yet, but some Chinese social media platforms apparently have access to it. But I was not able to get access to it. But that could be very interesting. And lastly, with our tariff update, our tariff war update, good old TFI International. So TFII, they are Canada's biggest trucking company, and I've had them in my lists, I think, a couple of times. Now they have come out and said that the trade war is hammering a lot of their freight volumes and fueling a lot of uncertainty to the point where they actually had to walk away from a major takeover opportunity because they do like to expand and they like buying companies, but they've had to back off. So their specialized truckload unit, that's one that basically transports goods that are oversized or require pretty much unique handling. So unique handling, they have really big time been impacted because their end customers are basically sitting on the fence. They're waiting to see they want to see where this is going to go. And I wouldn't blame them. Now, their chief executive officer, Alain Bedard, he told analysts on a conference call Thursday that they're not using their trucks to the full extent because the volumes are just simply not where they should be. And they're also they're holding off on any major mergers and acquisitions this year, although they did vow that they've got something big on the horizon in the United States, an acquisition for 2026. So hopefully that goes through. He also said they plan to spin off the truckload division as a standalone business because that would make sense, but that's probably not going to happen until about 2027. So it could be interesting to see what the spinoff from TFI and how that ends up looking. Oh boy. Let's see here. Paul says, I got polled once, but didn't pay enough attention to the company name. Vic. Hey, Vic, welcome. CIBC has international stocks like in Europe. Yes. Like I know they've got some German ones. I don't know if they've expanded outside of Germany, but I think like Mercedes-Benz, there's a CDR for Mercedes. So yeah, that's not too bad. Paul says, I totally forgot about the Tree Capital bot on the Discord in the bot spot channel. An example command FS. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Paul, yeah, that's right. Paul used to use that all the time. I know because my watch, every time Paul asked send a command to the Tree Capital bot, I'd get a little thing. His little picture of his chart would pop up on my watch, and I almost forgot about that. That's hilarious. Bismarcky says, I watched this angry American trucker on YouTube. He says his buddies in the industry are getting days off, not looking good. Oh, yeah, this is both ways. Both ways. I think truckers right now are not very happy, not very happy at all. Yeah, this whole thing, it's it's not good. It's not good at all. All right. Moving to our next story. We've got some new data coming out that shows that Canadians are, well, if we have a housing shortage, right? But yet we're not buying homes. So the Canadian housing market, there has been a sales drop by 9.3% in March compared to last year. And overall, it is down 20% since November. Holy banana bread. This is the slowest March since, let me give you this date, 2009. Now, 2009 probably should ring a bell because it's basically just following the housing market collapse of 2008. So once again, and this is kind of a lot like what's happening with TFII's user base. In this case here, it's people who want to buy houses. They're waiting on the sidelines to see. Basically, they want to see how the trade war with the U.S. unfolds, and more importantly, how the economic damage it causes are going to impact their finances. And that makes absolutely sense. So the cooling market, now the cooling market is actually good for buyers. So if you are a buyer and you're okay, and you're like, okay, well, I'm in good enough shape that, the damage isn't going to hurt me so bad. We're getting into what's called a buyer's market. So it's kind of interesting right now. So right now, the national sales to new listings ratio is coming in at 45.9%. And that's basically, it's a measure of sales versus new listings. It is the lowest. We have seen it since February of 2009. So if it drops, so if it needs to drop a little bit lower, if it drops down to 45%, then we're officially in a buyer's market. But right now, we're on the edge of a buyer's market. Interestingly enough, though, this lowering demand for housing sales has reduced housing starts, which are down by 9% across the country since last year. So it's kind of interesting. Like, this data kind of flies in the face of the housing crisis, and everybody talking about we need to get affordable homes, we need to get more houses built. I mean, we do need that, but yet it's kind of funny that at the same time we got people who are just sitting on the sidelines because they're just waiting out the economy at the moment. So it's going to be very interesting to sort of see where this all comes to a head. Paul says that was about the time strategy started going down and didn't want to be reminded. John Deere, in the midst of tariffs, can still be productive in their shops, refitting and repairing agri equipment for the next 2 years. Well, yeah. I mean, look at it this way. If you've got an old John Deere, maybe instead of getting a new one, getting it retooled, going in, getting it fixed, refitted. That's probably going to be the cheaper option. And that, yeah, if you're doing, especially if you have proprietary, that's probably going to be good for John Deere. All right. Paul says, wait till Tesla Semi is driverless with unsupervised FSD, or if driver's still there, it helps the driver rest more, like the movie Logan with the driverless semi trailers. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be that long before we start seeing some of these really cool things. Hopefully, and I don't condone anything Elon has done, but I'll be happy if he gets out of Doge and gets back to doing Tesla stuff. Leave Doge alone, and hopefully with him out of Doge, that team will sort of tone down a little bit. I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping, but hard to say. Hard to say if that'll be the case at all. But what can I say? All right. Oh, we're almost through the news. I'm liking it. So Canada's pension funds. So right now, Canada's pension funds are feeling a little uneasy about, well, buying America. So many of our top Canadian pension funds, and this also includes the Canadian Pension Plan Investment Board, the CPPIB, they're reconsidering making any new U.S. investments until well, basically the country's political situation stabilizes. They're looking at more caution about investing in the U.S. infrastructure projects, a staple, of course, of many Canadian pension funds portfolios. They're not going to sell what they have right now, but they're just new investments. They're basically saying, maybe we're going to hold off. Maybe we're going to hold off. Now there is a lot of volatility that's surrounding the whole White House's economic agenda. Fears that the funds could suddenly lose the tax breaks that they get on their U.S. investments. So there's a lot of basically uncertainties, the rule of the day. The hesitation to park any more cash in the U.S. comes, of course, as Ottawa is actively trying to lure a bigger chunk of the pensions funds back to Canada, and we're talking about $3 trillion. So it's not insignificant at all. Now this push basically it does open up this push notably includes opening up infrastructure projects that have long been off limits to pensions. So that's kind of Ottawa saying let's free up some of these rules a little bit. For example, the feds are now letting pension funds invest in airports. They're offering up to $15 billion in incentives for AI data centers that are backed by Canadian pension funds. So that's not too shabby. Ottawa's also looking at eliminating a rule that currently restricts pension funds from owning more than 30% of the voting shares in a Canadian company. So they're making it as easy as possible for pension funds to stick to Canada. And with that volatility in the States, it's working. It is working for sure. What can I say? People are absolutely into, they're into buying Canadian. They're into buying Canadian, which drives us into our final story of the day. So the Bank of Montreal, they released a report that states that the Buy Canadian movement is it's looking to add roughly $10 billion to the Canadian economy each year. So that's not too bad. They're also saying that it could potentially boost annual economic growth by 0.3 percentage points. Growth, of course, would come from consumer shifts, government procurement, and increased domestic travel. So, yeah, it's time to vacation in Canada for sure. There are, of course, some challenges to this as well. Patriotism, that means, it means higher prices and fewer options for Canadian consumers. Many Canadian-made and this is kind of a big thing, many Canadian-made products can actually include up to 49% foreign content. So you could have a made in Canada sticker, but it might just mean that only 51% has been made in Canada. Some products made in Canada might be owned by foreign companies as well, raising questions about whether or not they will have economic benefits if that's the case. So Canada significantly imports household products, vehicles, and electronics. 20% of household consumption depends on imports. And this is kind of where we're sort of looking at just a few of the things that are going to be a kind of a hindrance to be the made in Canada. And also about 40% of realistically substitutable household goods currently are imported. So there's only so much you can do with Buy Canada, but it's still going to make a sizable thing. And it is nice. I've always thought if you can get something from a mom and pop shop locally, it's not a bad thing to put that money back into your own community for sure. So I am definitely liking it. All right, now before let me see here. There we go. All right, that's the news. That's the news. Holy cow! There we go. I've gotten rid of the news thing. I should almost for some reason I was sitting here thinking, I wonder if Nightbot could be popping up the article titles or something. Oh boy, I'm having too much fun with the Nightbot. All right, Rory says, or combines like an Interstellar. JD is going in that direction. Actually, I do remember. I think we had a news story about that. Oh gosh. Probably 6 months ago, but Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Just as long as you got the safety thing, because the last thing you want is a driverless combine running over somebody. That wouldn't be good. Wouldn't be good at all. All right, let's grab some coffee here. Yeah, exactly. And what Paul is saying here on that Tesla earnings call, Elon said he's going to be stepping back from Doge in May and spending a lot more time with Tesla. So hopefully that does. But the problem is, I mean, he's kind of got to wait for people to forget how annoyed they are with him for he's done a lot of crazy stuff, for sure. Paul says, I just wish the Canadian government gave these companies the grants after the battery factory was up and running and not before. That battery company went bankrupt, but got the money from Canada. Yeah. What can we say? Let's see. Libs always seem to put the cart before the horse. Good old saying. Putting the cart before the horse. Let's see. King of Day is saying, hit the like button, guys. Mary, where are you at? Yeah, absolutely, guys. When you hit the like button, it pushes it out. All of that fun stuff. Gotta love the like button. I like the like button for sure. Paul says, take a look at CEP Cantor Equity Partners, part of SPAC, forming a new company to buy 42,000 Bitcoin. The new CEO will be the CEO from Strike, Jack Muller. Yeah, I'm familiar with Jack. All right, let's take a look here. CEP, is that the name? Well, we'll take a gander. I have not looked at them before. Here we are, Cantor Equity Partners right here. All right, so let's take a look here. Hello, go away. There we go. All right, let's see here. All right. So yeah, look, oh boy, look at this. That's like that's definitely straight up. I'm gonna go back to 3 months. Yeah, from 1071 to 31. That's pretty crazy. That is really, 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 really crazy. It's a blank check company. I guess they wrote themselves a blank check. Holy cow. Yeah, I don't have a lot of information here. Now, I will say, when I see this, when I see something like this, I worry. I worry because a lot of times it means that we're heading into, it's time to retrace a little bit. It's time to retrace, and that's probably what's going to happen. So, when you run into something like this, like I would not drop in anything at this point, anything at all, just because that's probably coming back. It's probably coming back. It's kind of like it may, and Bismarck is saying pump and dump. It may not be a pump and dump, but it may be a people getting a little too excited initially, and this thing explodes, and then it sort of retraces back to where it's more of a fair evaluation of what it's worth. So now there's the occasional time. There is the occasional time where I'm completely wrong about this, and all of a sudden that $31 next week might be $40 or $50, and but most times that's not the case. So, and if you guys know me, I like to play the odds. If there's a greater than 50% chance that this is probably coming back down, that's the odds I'm going to play. So, yeah. But still interesting. I think it's definitely very, very interesting. And, bring it up again. Bring it up again, Paul. Bring it up next week. Bring it up. Mention it to me next week, because I'd love to take a look at that again next week. I think that would be really, really, really interesting. Let's see. And something about XXI is related. I didn't touch CEP, even though people on Invest Answers Discord talking about it, similar to what happened to HODL and NDA. So yeah. And let's actually pull up HODL for a moment. HODL. So Soul Strategies. All right. And I'm just going to pull up the last year, and you can sort of see. This is exactly what I was just talking about with CEP. Somebody had brought this up, and if you guys remember, we were looking at it when it was right here at 6. And I said then the exact same thing I just said about CEP, that it's probably going to come down and correct. And it's coming up a little bit more here. That's fantastic. But I am always weary when we're at that point right here. I'm weary of it, and that's kind of what I'm almost thinking for CEP as well. Now, NDA, that there is Neptune Digital Assets, and we'll pull them up here as well. All right, and let's pull up the last 6 months, and you can see same thing. All of that excitement, and then it retracts. Now, Neptune Digital Assets. I mean, this is a company that at least the last time I looked, they had no debt. Let me just double check that, make sure. Yeah, they're still they've got no debt. I think that there's a lot of potential with them. But you kind of have to wait until they sort of, I guess right now, like at this value, yeah, it's probably not a bad idea. Just get back here. Let's one more. There we go. Oh, that's Soul Strategy. Sorry, NDA. All right, let's get back once again. All right. I don't think they never used to have all these ads on this on the TMX website, but now they do. Now they do. I'm just gonna pull up the 6 months here. There's probably going to be I think this here, this volatility, I think is probably playable. It's kind of the way that crypto is, and that's the thing. Yeah, I kind of like Neptune Digital. I will mention I used to well, not so much them, but more Hut 8. Hut 8 I used to do a lot of swing trading on, but NDA could be interesting. It could be interesting. I wouldn't play it here, but if it came back down to maybe 120, that may not be a bad move at that point to get in and ride it up to maybe 175. Not that high, but keep in mind too that you don't want to do it with a lot, because when you take a look here, actually, this volume is higher than I was anticipating. Volume up here at 1.13 million. So yeah, man, that's actually with a volume like that. This could be a good swing trade, or if you're day trading, there could be some movement in here for that, for sure. Interesting. I I like it. I like it for sure. What can I say? Oh gosh, the coffee is so good. The coffee is so good. I am loving it. Now, I know a few of you have already voted in advance polls, but here's my big question. How many of you are actually have to go out tomorrow to vote? How many of you have not voted yet? I'm kind of curious. Let's see. Paul says all of the CEP NDA hodl mentioned the first time by James from Invest Answers, they all went up right away. Yeah, and keep in mind, now we're going back to the pump and dump because this used to happen, especially with a lot of the big US finfluencers. So they used to, at one point, things like Naked Chef. Naked Chef was one of those things that they used to promote all the time, saying, oh, this is going to go to the moon. But many of them were just pretty much pumping and dumping. There's a lot of that. I've never seen it with Canadian. I can't think of a single Canadian YouTube finance YouTuber who has done a pump and dump. But it happens. It happens with the US ones, and especially some of the bigger ones, because they have that audience. That pretty much, and the way it works, guys, is all right. Let's get out of there. So yeah, here's a stock. So what they're going to do is they're going to, at this stage right here, your finfluencer comes in and they'll buy a whole bunch. So they'll buy a whole bunch of this. Let's just call it a crap stock, some crap stock. Then they'll go on, then they'll make a video. And they will say, okay, guys, look at this and look at this little bump. Usually that's because they've invested a bunch of their own money at this point, and they'll even use that bump as part of their rationale for why they think it's about to explode. And then, of course, guess what? Yeah, it does. It explodes really fast because all of their buyers, all of their followers, all of the people, especially a lot of times they'll do it on live streams too. A lot of people are just buying it like crazy. And of course, that person, this finfluencer, they've already got plans to sell, let's say right here. So they sell everything. So they sell all this, and this is here becomes that right from there to there, that all becomes profit. So that's their profit right there. So they sell, and it might still be going up as they're selling, but as soon as they start selling it all, it starts to fall fast. And well, that's what it is. Pump, dump. And so those people who are all excited watching this thing explode, a lot of people are buying up in here. They're buying up here at the top. And what ends up happening is it plummets. And the second it starts plummeting, a lot of the people who are buying down in here are panicking and they're selling. And that just makes it, and in reality, it probably will end up going even lower than where it even started at the beginning. It may recover slowly a little bit, but that's kind of that whole big classic pump and dump. Highly unethical, highly unethical. And this is one of these things. Like I will always say, if you're listening to a YouTuber and they're saying that this stock's the best thing since sliced cheese, whatever you do, don't buy it. Do not buy it. Do your own due diligence. And especially if it's a stock that there's no real reason for it to be exploding other than, the YouTuber saying, oh, I got some insider information, or, I've heard that this is going to happen. There's stuff happening behind the scenes. Yeah, it's like, no, do your own research. If you find news, if there's news on this stock about a merger and, it sounds okay, well, then you maybe consider it, but just be careful. Last thing I want is any of you guys to get caught in one of these scams. Because that's what it is. It's a scam. It's a scam. It's just, that YouTuber is basically, or TikToker or whatever, they're basically pulling money straight out of your pocket and putting it into theirs. Very, very low in my opinion. And, there have been some pretty questionable ones. Like I mentioned before, all of that tattooed chef and some of these other ones. There's been a lot of questionable ones in the States for sure. And like I said, I'm very happy that as far as I know, there's been no Canadian ones, which is good. Let's see. Rory says, I get alerts from Hut from Quest Trade once in a while. Okay. And see, so Rory voted last week. So Philly's going to head out tomorrow to vote and advance poll. Yeah. Bismarcky says, got rid of half of my cash position in PSA. Actually got more than the dividend is paying out this month. Might buy back closer to $50 tomorrow. Awesome. The only thing is, keep in mind, if you are in your TFSA, you want to be careful with doing that. But that's why I always say, if you're going to be moving stuff around quite a bit between cash ETFs, get a couple of them. So for example, right now, and well, let's bring this back up again. So right now I'm using, okay, come on, give me, guys, there we go. No, come on. All right, give me my marker. All right. Uh-oh. What the heck is going on? All right, give me a second. All right, let's see. Why can't I draw? All right. Seriously? Huh. All right, I'm going to refresh this. I've never had this. Ooh, what's all that? Oh, I don't know. There we go. Let's just delete that. Delete. All right, now I should be able to draw now. Let's see. No, I can't. Oh, yeah, now I can. All right. What was I saying? I got distracted. All right. So yeah, right now, come on, just give me a second here. Let's add some weight to that. So yeah, right. Let's add a lot more weight. Let's add a lot more weight. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, that'll work. So right now I'm in T cash, TCSH. All right. Oh, that's probably one of my worst. But when right now I'm just adding to it. So I'm adding, I'm fine. Nothing's coming out. But when we get into the bear market and I start pulling from it, um, anything I add, I'll probably pick up a second one. So I might even go back to cash. So CASH. And then what I'll do is I'll be pulling out and I'll start putting into cash. After a month, so after about a month, I can always switch directions. But I'm just going to play with a couple, so that way there I'm not getting into a situation where I'm pulling out of one and buying back, because that is that behavior that the CRA likes to look at to say, ooh, we might have some day trading going on here. But that's what I'm going to do for sure. Paul says, let's see, I get all kinds of alerts now from Questrade for holdings and watch lists if price went up 10% or volume went up higher than normal. Okay, interesting. Questrade is pathetic in that manner, telling us when the move already happened. Yeah, I mean, what? Yeah. I'm okay. I mean, I'm okay with alerts. But don't decide what alerts you're going to send me. Let me configure my own alerts. That's the way I look at it. Let's see. Paul says, usually James from Invest Answers looks for news of companies adding Bitcoin and Solana to their balance sheet, and we'll post those. Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Yeah, and I wasn't really singling out James in particular. I was just mentioning the whole pump and dump because of that whole behavior. Let's see. No Canadian ones except Brie X in the 1990s. All right. Interesting. Let's see. What is funny? What is funny? Two of those. So HODL and NDA are Vancouver Stock Exchange, and the Americans had to find them on the US OTC markets. Even people from UK were looking for ways to buy. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Neptune Digital Assets, I believe they're actually based in Vancouver now. I'm not sure about where Soul Strategies, but maybe they're also Vancouver as well. But it's kind of just interesting. I mean, and that's the whole thing. Like, crypto has been very, very weird. I don't want to say weird, but we've been sort of sitting like with Bitcoin. We've been sitting around, right in the 8,000 plus or minus 10,000 area for a while. So we haven't, I still don't think we're done. I still don't think we're done. Like, when we look, and let me just pull this up here and let's go to Bitcoin. All right. Oh boy, look at this. We're definitely going flat. We're going flat for a while. So we've had quite a bit of consolidation, but that's the 1 hour chart. I'm going to take us to the 4 hour chart here. All right, here we go. Oh, we're actually up at 90 right now. So that's not too shabby. There we go. I'm going to pull this down a little bit. But one of the things you can see is we have been look at this though, and this is that 80 area I've been talking about. We had a small breakout up here, but we've been flat for a while. So this here is nothing like, and this is where I'm going to actually go back to. Let's actually go to I'll go to a 1 day chart. I think that's fine. I think a 1 day chart is absolutely okay for this. All right. So you can sort of see, and I'm just going to pull this in. All right, here we go. This is what I wanted to take a look at. So you can sort of see here, this was the last time. This was back in November of 2021. This is right over here. See, that's where this is where we went into crypto winter. And you can sort of see very distinct falling. I mean, I was not ironically, but I was actually on a live stream. I was on a live stream in the middle of the night when this all happened. This big movement down here as we watched the market as it came in. But what I'm pointing at is that when you look at the double high here, And you can sort of see here, you could argue that, look, that's kind of like a double high right in there. But then, this here, it's just not behavior. So I really don't think that we are heading into crypto winter at any time soon. I still think we have one more hoorah. So I think we have one more big hoorah. I'm going to guess once we stabilize, I think right now, because so much is absolutely up in the air with these tariffs, I think once we get to whatever the new normal is going to be, and Trump is not threatening new tariffs, he's got whatever whatever he wants to have in place. That's when I think we're going to see it. That's when I think we're going to start seeing some movement here. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, look at how far we came. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And of course, you can see by adding this to your balance sheet, yeah, this is absolutely not a bad move. Now imagine down here around, between 16 and 20,000. That wasn't that long ago. Imagine in 2022, if you had bought one Bitcoin down there at 20,000, that's just pretty crazy. And here's the reality is, we've had a halving. We're going to have another one in 4 years, but I think Bitcoin's going to be strong. And when we do get a winter, I don't even think we're not going to come back down to here. I've actually been sort of thinking that this area in here, I think this is where our winter is going to be. So you'll notice if you take a look here, and let me draw some lines here. All right. I just need a couple of lines in here. We'll put one in about roughly there. Whoa. Oh, there's my Discord link. That's hilarious. Command C, Command V. Yeah, so right in this area here, I think this is where our next winter is going to go down to. Probably the bottom of this, but I think it'll probably move sideways in this range for a while when we actually move into a crypto winter. So we're not going to have like this massive giant explosion when we come out of crypto winter and go into the next one. It's just going to be a situation where we've got so much with the US spot Bitcoin ETFs. There's just so much more liquidity in the market. It's just not. I can't see it going. Like, I would be shocked if it drops below 59. I would be shocked. But that's where I think we're going to see it. I think that's where we're going to see it. All right. Let's see. Paul says James from Invest Answers does say that this is not financial advice, but what he is doing, he has been in strategy since 2020 and Tesla. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I am finding the weekend dips and then continues up during the work week. I know it's one of the problems. Like, if you're doing this through stocks, right? When you do get these weekend dips in crypto, it's like there's nothing you can do. You can just watch it. But if you're actually investing in the coins, so through, if you got, I was going to say, if you're using like Shake Pay or Wealth Simple and you got you could buy that way through the weekend and take advantage of some of the dips. Other than, keep in mind, there's always a little bit of a buffer between the price, and because that's how they make money. So when you're on Shake Pay, for example, it'll give you a price of Bitcoin, but the actual price is going to be, there'll be a spread between what the actual price is and what you're paying, and you're paying a little bit more. That's how they make their money. So, but the nice thing is with something like Bitcoin and the movement in crypto is, if you pay a little bit more and then the coin explodes, yeah, you're laughing. You're absolutely laughing. All right. Paul says, back in the fall for HODL, made $1,000, buy low and sell higher within 2 days, and it continued up after I sold. Oh, that happens. That happens. And the other thing too, it's kind of an interesting thing. Give me a second here. Let's go back here to the whiteboard here for a moment. There's this really interesting thing, and you'll see it a lot with investors. It's called confirmation bias. All right. So, all right, what is confirmation bias? So, have you ever had that situation? And I've heard it in here a whole bunch of times. I just bought that stock, and yep, guess what? It immediately went down. And you know what? That does happen. Absolutely. But here's the thing. This is the one you're going to remember, right? How many times you buy the stock and nothing happens? Or you buy the stock and it goes up a little bit. You go to the stock, maybe it goes down a tiny bit and then goes up. But, all of these, you're not remembering any of these. What you're doing is you're remembering this one. And then in your mind, and this is confirmation bias, you sort of like, oh, yeah, every time I do it, every time this is what happens. Um, keep it, it isn't actually true. If it is, holy boy, if it actually is true, then it's like, oh boy, you're unlucky. You're unlucky. Um, but it does happen. It's confirmation bias. It's kind of that thing. Unless you're actually tracking every single time you buy, you'll actually realize that it happens every so often. Probably no more than with chance, unless of course, yeah, if you bought a bunch of stuff the day before Trump announced all the tariffs, well, yeah, okay. In that case, there you got bang, 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 bang. Yeah, you got a whole bunch of these. That case there, it's not confirmation bias. It's just oh boy, you picked a really bad time to buy. But yeah, it's one of those interesting things, and you'll hear it. I hear it all the time. I hear everybody and their dog saying that, yeah, every time I buy this stock or that stock, it always goes down. So keep in mind that is confirmation bias. And in reality, in a fixed system, if you had a fixed system and it was just, and you buy a stock and you buy enough of it, it'll actually push it up in a fixed system. Now, we're not in a fixed system, of course. There's a lot of different things that can happen. So, you could be buying a stock, and keep in mind, every time you buy a stock, there's somebody else who just sold a stock. So it always works out because you're not buying. And this is the funny thing. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm going to buy some shares in, let's say, Hammond." So that way there I'm supporting Hammond. Well, you're technically not, because the number of shares doesn't change. You're basically buying the shares from another investor. And that's all it is. It's money changing from one investor to the other. The share price is how much a person's willing to pay for it. You've got you get your bid and then ask. There we go. So normally when you look at a price, so let's just say, for example, we're looking at we'll say it's $1. You'll normally see prices set up like this. It might be $1 and then it might be $1.01. And this is that bid ask. So generally what that means is if you're going to buy that stock at that moment, that's what you're paying. You're paying $1.01. But if you're going to sell it at that moment, you're paying you're going to get $1. So when you sell it, you always get the lowest, and when you buy it, you pay the highest of the two. So anytime you look at those, most of you guys probably don't look at it unless you're trading. If you're day trading, then this becomes hugely important, right? Because some day traders, they'll do this thing. It's basically it's skimming. You're skimming a little bit of money off. So let's say, for example, if you're a day trader, you might actually make a purchase. You might buy it at $1.01 a share, and maybe you bought 1,000 of these. Or maybe you bought more, and then you might be selling it at like $1. We'll go $1.06. So at that point, you're making 5 cents. You're making 5 cents for every single share. So when you times that by 1,000, that's like what? I'm just trying to pull up my math here. Was that $50? $50. So you basically made $50 just from doing this little tiny skim. Yeah, basically. No. I think though, sorry, my math. I think that's about $5. $5. I have to keep my decimal places, but that's why a lot of skimmers, they may not be doing 1,000. They may do, maybe they're doing, 10,000, 20,000. But that's kind of that thing, or they're just doing it with a whole bunch of things and they're just adding it all up as they're skimming it all together, all of that fun stuff. But anyway, wow, we went off on a tangent. We went off on a little bit of a tangent about confirmation bias. Anyway, fun stuff, fun stuff. Paul says strategy is buying one half of Bitcoin daily amount mined. So like another synthetic halving happened. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, there is a supply crunch on Bitcoin. So sometimes it surprises me that things aren't, that they're not just more expensive than they already are. I'm still bullish. I'm still pretty bullish on Bitcoin. I'm also really loving like look at this, guys. Let me show you something. All right. Here's what I need. We'll just go to I'm just going to go to the regular one here. I'm not going to do the U, just the regular Sol. All right. So this here is that new hello ad. This is the new Solana spot ETF, and it hasn't been out that long. I'll just go my 1 month, but here you go. This launched at like, well, here we go. It opened at $9.95 and it's $11.81. And this is quite literally, this is since the 16th. Since the 16th, this has gone a crazy amount. So I have a feeling like, I think the Solana, I think it's going to do really well. And one of the reasons, and I've mentioned this before, Ethereum has really high gas fees. So it costs a lot of money to be moving stuff into Ethereum and to be working with Ethereum because of the gas fees. Solana, a lot cheaper, and people are starting to build stuff on Solana because of that. So that is going to definitely be big for Solana. Absolutely. Paul says your neighbor poll, and you say your neighbor is voting conservative, but if they ask who are you voting for, and the person says liberal because they are afraid to say conservative. Yeah, I heard that. I heard about the neighbor poll where it's like, yeah, it's more accurate to not ask who you're voting for, but ask who your neighbors are voting for. If somebody were to ask me that, I'd be like, I have no clue. Like, I've got 2 neighbors. I have no clue who either of them are voting for at all. Other than the fact that, I'm in Ottawa South. Ottawa South is a very, very red riding. It's considered a liberal safe riding. So I would probably, if I was asked that question and I had to give an answer, I'd say, well, they're probably voting liberal for that simple reason. But, we'll know tomorrow. We'll know tomorrow if these polls hold their weight or not. So, and if you guys want, we can take a look. We can take a look on Sunday to see how right or wrong the polls were. It'd actually be kind of fun. Rory says shy voter issue. People don't want to be attacked for the person they voted for. Yeah. And that's the thing. I always say, you know what? Who you vote for is your own business. The only thing I will say is vote. Even if you're going to vote for the person who I'm not voting for, I still want you to vote because it's kind of the way the things. It's the way it should work. So definitely vote. And whoever you vote for, it's never been. Politics has never been as divisive as it is now. Because it's kind of like, it's not as bad in Canada, of course, as it is in the United States, but there's no reason that you can't have a nice, happy family and have a liberal, a conservative, an NDPer, and maybe the really odd nephew who's part of the Communist Party or something. Who knows? I'm okay with all of that. I'm absolutely okay with all of that. I just like to see a good participation when it comes to voting, because the last thing I would want to see is for some party to win simply because their opponents supporters just didn't go out and vote. So and never get to that point where you think, oh, It's already in the bag. There's no need for me to vote. Well, there have been, especially in Canadian politics. Um, I think where was it? I think it was in Quebec. There was a riding in Quebec in the last election where the Bloc Québécois, initially it looked like they won by about 100 votes, but there was a recount. And by the end of the recount, they ended up losing by about 12 votes. So imagine 12 votes, and that shows that one vote could absolutely make a difference. It really, really could. Paul says StatCloud poll for yesterday: Atlantic Canada. Let's see, CPC 51, LPC 43, NDP 4. That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, very, very interesting. And we're going to see, and that's the thing. We're definitely going to see. You know, it could be. I'm more than willing to say if these polls could be wrong. I've seen polls be wrong before. Look at the U.S. election. Look at the U.S. election. A lot of the polls were saying that that it was a done deal for Kamala, and look how that turned out. So, yeah, polls could be very, very wrong, and we'll know. We will know tomorrow. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. No matter who wins, it's going to be fun. All right. Paul says, let's see, Sol and the U version up 20% since debut. It will go up and down. Last summer, Solana was really bad for getting to a high, then back down, then back up to the high. Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be some volatility for sure. Let's see, Solana 3x perp trades at the channel low, then get out at the channel high. Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what we're talking about. So yeah, last year it was, that poll was, but you know what? There were a couple of polls that did have Trump leading, and those turned out to be the polls that were correct. But keep in mind, guys, I look at it this way. This is how I look at the election is that whoever wins, I'm probably going to give them a hard time no matter what, because government is government, and government's going to do things that are not great for investors. So they're gonna do things that I'm not gonna like, whether they be conservative, liberal. Well, it's only gonna be those two, but I'm gonna give whoever wins. That's my promise to you guys. Whoever wins, I'll give them a hard time. It doesn't matter who. Doesn't matter who. Whoever wins gets a hard time. And I'm prepared. I'm prepared for that for sure. So what can I say? All right, guys, we're pushing along. We got lots of time left, but if you guys got some questions, because right now you guys are a little slow in the chat, today. But yeah, if you got your questions, get them in there. If you want me to look at some stocks or whatever, let's do it. I'm game for whatever you guys want to do. I'm gonna have some coffee. That's what I'm gonna do. I am liking it. If you have not yet hit that like button, definitely be sure to do that, because it pushes it out in the algorithm. It's always a good thing, for sure. Oh my, I don't know why my nose is always so friggin' itchy. It must be the time of year. Let's see. Paul says, remember the 30% max foreign investments in RRSP? Yeah. I have this thing. I honestly don't think there should be any kind of maximums. It's like if you want to invest 100% American, I'm okay with that. Or even if you want to invest 100% German, I'm okay with that too. But we'll see. Rory, Candace, are you in the swing with Air Canada already, or are you waiting? Oh no, I'm in it. I am absolutely in it. So the Air Canada swing, let's pull this up here. And I did a video actually on it. All right, here we go. All right, so right now Air Canada sitting at $14.07. So yeah, I'm gonna just pull this back here a little bit. All right, so here is my my swing currently is anytime they're under and I this time around I'm doing under $17. So if they're under $17, I'm going to pick up probably, I'm doing this in the challenge. So we have limited budget in the challenge. So 10 shares every month. Any month that they're under $17, 10 shares are getting added. We're going to keep doing that until, and I think I set it at 21. Or did I set it? Well, it's either 21 or 22. I got it written down. Once we get up in the 20s, that's when I'll sell it all, make a profit, and rinse and repeat if it does come back down again. Now, we did this before. We did this back in here, actually. At that point, if it was below 16, and we didn't get very far in the challenge because, well, look what happened. They had an earnings call come in. They also announced in that earnings call that they're doing share buybacks over the next year. Because if you go, let's go back a little bit. So this giant drop in the pandemic. Now, this is not just, well, yeah, a lot of it is from the fact that everything got shut down and their business went to a standstill pretty much. But they diluted their shares to make more money. So diluting your shares basically means that you print shares. It's just like money printing, but in this case, it's shares. So when you create extra shares, the value, because your shares are basically, if you take the market cap, divide it by the share price, by the number of shares, that will give you the price, how much that share is worth. So when you dilute, you create a whole bunch of more shares, meaning the price of all of the individual shares goes down. And that's what we've seen. So that was kind of that thing. So even down in here, it's like, yeah, we're not going to get back to $50. That's really out of the realm of possibility. But when we did recover, you can see here, we have a nice little firm base here between $23, $24 in that area. And you can see we've come back to that a couple of times. And I have played this, not, before, like I've played a few of these lower ones, buying down in here, selling up in here. Now, what is interesting here is even though, yeah, we're down right now, that's fine. We're coming back up because of a couple of things. One, unless they change their mind about the share buybacks that they announced during their last earnings call, when they buy back shares, it reduces the number of shares they have. So those prices start to come up. So we should see a little bit of a drifting up because of that. And as we recover, as we get to the new normal, they'll start to recover. This will start to come back up. I don't see us going above 25. I see us maybe getting to 20. We might peak at 25 again the next time, but how long? That's the big question. Now, I look at it a couple of ways. With the 0 to 100K challenge, it's not like I'm about to hit 100K, this year. No, it's just not happening. So if this takes a year, if it takes 2 years, I'm okay with it because that means I will be buying, I'll be buying those shares consistently every month. It's like a dollar cost. It basically is a dollar cost averaging. I'll be buying those every month for 2 years. And then when it does get up there, that's a big chunk of profit. That'll be good for the challenge. And then all of that profit, I can take it and put it into, other stuff at that time. We'll reevaluate where it's going to go at that point in time. And of course, if it does then fall back down again, I'll probably do it again. I'll do it again because this has been a very consistent method of money printing. For sure. So yeah, absolutely. I am in on the swing trade. I probably could have said, yes, I am, instead of pulling everything out, but why not? Paul says, only thing about 100% USD is it takes you 5 days to do that Norbit gambit or pay 1.5 for it right away. Yeah, that is absolutely true. Keep in mind, guys, you can't do the Norbit gambit in Wealthsimple. You have to use Questrade, National Bank, and I believe somebody told me that you could do it with Royal Bank as well. So yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Paul says, like MSTR, dilute by selling new shares to buy Bitcoin. Yeah, exactly. Except for Air Canada. As far as I know, Air Canada is not buying Bitcoin. So gotta like that. Larry says, EADSY. Well, let's take a look. EADSY. Here we go. So this is Airbus. Interesting. Oh. um, they just blinked out of existence, Larry. They're gone. They're gone. No, maybe not. Let's EADSY. We'll try it one more time. Yeah. Oh well. All right. Let's go to Yahoo Finance. All right. Well, see if I can pull it up at good old Yahoo. All right. EADSY. Here we go. Airbus. All right. Yeah, we can pull it up here. Let's take a look at their 1 year here. All right. I see. All right. Interesting. Now, this is kind of interesting. I'm looking here and Larry didn't say why he's showing me this, but right away I noticed something. Their 1 year target is at $49. They're currently sitting at $40. And look at this. High, low, high, going back into another. This could be a swing opportunity. That's what I'm seeing here. That's what I see initially, just looking at that. So that could be interesting. And also the fact that Airbus is same kind of industry, I expect we could probably see some similar swings on something like this. I have a feeling, Larry, that you're playing some of these swings. Very cool. I like that. I can see an analogy to Air Canada on that. Whoops. I never showed you guys what I was looking at. There we go. Let's see. Muggsy says, I like the explanation on the swing trading. Oh, well, thank you. Let's see. Larry says, China canceled Boeing orders. Only one other company makes planes, and that's Airbus, plus the price. Yeah. No, there's definitely some interesting things here. Now, keep in mind, we'll have to see how that all is going to work out. Now, I know right now China had a contract for a bunch of Boeing planes, and they've already said they're not going to take those planes. And I believe they might have even sent one plane back. I could be wrong on that, but I thought I heard that they had. So we'll have to see. Now, if Trump does start to back off and they start to strike some kind of a deal with China when it comes to the tariffs, that might change. But I do like what I see right now. And this is, like I said, with this Airbus, we can even back out further. And when you back out further, you can see this is not a bad movement. Like, look, this is a company that has a consistent growth over the whole over the time. So yeah, I think I like this company. I think I like EADSY. So not too shabby at all. Yeah, that is pretty good. I'm liking it. Now, of course, what do we get? Some of the stuff we do have to look forward to this week, guys, is once we have a new leader. So once we have our, either a new leader or the same leader, I don't know. But once the election is finalized, I'm hoping that whoever wins, whether it be Polyev or Carney, I hope they're on that phone this week, and let's get some stuff moving with Trump. Let's start to try to get this all ironed out sooner than later. There's a couple of things we do have going for us right now. One is the fact that China started buying more of our energy from us. They've been cutting back what they've been buying from the U.S. and taking it from us instead. That's a good thing. That has to be worrying for the States. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this is all how it's gonna roll out. Michael says, hello, Candace. While my position in Alpha Min in Congo did not go well, Amerigo, the copper play, is much more stable. Yeah, good old Amerigo. I haven't looked at them in forever, but all right. Oops, let's actually there we go. This is where I'm gonna go. All right. EMER IGO. There we go. Amerigo Resources. Here we go. Let's take a gander here. All right, so this is copper. I mean, I like a lot of Canadian. There's another company too. I think they're called Mara that I like as well in the copper sector. Um, Now this one here, they have very little debt, 10% debt to equity. I like that. I also like the return on equity, 18.36%. So that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Let's just take a gander here at their year. Now, this here, technically, this is a penny stock. I mean, or at least penny adjacent. But I think that they will do well if, depending, of course, on on copper. Now, let's just take a look at Mara. Now that I haven't looked at Mara in a while, Mara. Here we go, Mara Holdings right here. Let's see. Is this the one I'm looking at? No, this is a different one. This is Marathon Digital Holdings. Oh, interesting. That maybe I'm thinking of a different one. What am I thinking of? Just a second here. Let me try something here. Mara, Yield Max Mara option, Bitwise Mara. I thought there was. I'm like convinced that there was. Now it's like, all right, let's go to Google. Mara Copper Project, Mara Copper Mine. This is kind of what I was thinking of. Oh, maybe I just don't have the right ticker here. But yeah, it's a mine located in. This is who I'm looking at. This is who I'm looking at. What is their ticker? That's a good question. That is a really good question. I just remember the name, Mara. But anyway. Oh yeah, it's not loading. It's not loading. What can I say? Mario is saying it's better. It better be the Green Party that wins. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Yeah, that would be interesting. That would be interesting. ERO. It could be ERO. But yeah. Let's see here. Harvest releases their low H fall last week. Yes. So yeah, I think Brandon Beavis did a video on H fall. So, if you're looking for a low volatility, that's another one from Harvest. And I think you're going to start seeing, as we move deeper into more economic chaos, I think you're going to start seeing some interesting moves that way. Yeah, Mari, Mari. Oh, that's it. That's it. That's what I was thinking of. Let me Mari. Haha. Yeah, there it is. That's exactly the one I was thinking of. Thank you. Yesterday to the rescue. All right. Yeah, let's see. As you can see, this one has been doing pretty darn good. I like Mari. I haven't thought about them like quite literally. I haven't thought of them in like about 2 years, but I know I had done some research in them a long time ago, and I was very much liking them. But look at this. What the heck's going on? They do have a negative return on equity, but they don't seem to have any debt. They probably spent a bunch of money on something. I would want to dig in a bit deeper, but 2 years ago, they were doing good. They were doing good. And I do like the look. Let's go back to their overview. I do like the look of what we can see. I'm going to go back 5 years. Yeah, you can see I do like this company. I would want to, of course, figure out what the heck is going on with their negative equity. And yesterday saying they aren't producing yet. That could certainly be part of it, especially right now if they're spending money and they're continually expanding. Then and I remember 2 years ago, I don't think they had yet started producing. So I would have I'm hoping they're close. I'm hoping they're close yesterday. I am definitely hoping that there is some closeness. Let's see. Pierre Poilievre says if he is elected, there will be no summer vacation for MPs. That would be interesting. That would be interesting for sure. Yeah. It seems like, well, it's kind of interesting. Like, it seems like they take a lot of time off, all of the MPs, but you got to remember that some of that time is not. It's not that they're doing nothing during that time. Usually, a lot of time, that's when they go to their home ridings, and they should be available at their hopefully available at their offices there, so that way they're for their local constituents. But yeah, what can I say? Yeah, and there we go. And that's yeah, Michael. We were talking about Mary right here, Mari. So, and they aren't producing it. I know, I know. Oh boy, I still like overall. I really like this company. I really like them, but yeah, I can't. It's one of these ones I need to actually probably need to pay more attention to them because I think when they do start producing, I can see some goodness. I can see some goodness with Mari. So, though, guys, keep in mind they're still technically a penny adjacent stock, so you still want to have a certain level of care with them. But this is a company that I think is worth. I think they're worth a watch list at a minimum. At a minimum. Now I don't know if yesterday. Now yesterday, I know yesterday likes you like mining. You really because yeah you were the one who sent me that other startup. That was kind of cool. But yeah, nothing wrong with Mari. Just something to keep in mind. Keep in mind as well, no matter what happens, no matter who gets in, one of the big pushes in Canada, of course, is going to be getting access to more of our critical minerals, getting them to market. You'll hear in Ontario, you'll hear Doug Ford going on about the Ring of Fire. There's that, and there's of course lots of stuff in the north. Alberta is resource heavy. So yeah, there's going to be a big push. There's definitely going to be a big push because even if we do get a resolution with Trump, and this is what I'm hoping, because sometimes politicians, it's like, oh, if it's no longer a critical threat, we can back off. But I think whether this turns into a close call with the United States, I think we need to take a lot. We need to walk away from it and sort of say, let's use the Canadian resources because, and I've said this so many times, with the resources that we have, there's no reason why we are not an economic superpower. We really should be. We got so much resources. It's hard to say. I don't know if there's another country on earth that's better off than we are. There might be some that are close, but I'll tell you, we're definitely top. We're definitely top. Michael says, let's see. Thank you. Here we go. Thank you. I will watch Mari. It's a large resource. Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday says that Borealis goes into production in July. Gold prices are high. Yes, gold prices are doing well. Now they have come down a little bit, only because we've been getting some green. But if we get more chaos, that's going to just push gold higher and higher for sure. Paul says technically nothing has happened in federal government since last October. Yeah. We really don't have much going on. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you had the proroguement. Yeah, we had a whole bunch of nothing, and it's kind of funny that here we are, pretty much coming back in May. So that's kind of what it is. It's kind of like the beginning of May that Parliament comes back, and whether or not if it's not Pierre, and then they go on summer vacation soon enough, we might only get a month of Parliament until that's ridiculous. I hope if the Liberals win, I hope they don't send the House off to summer vacation anytime soon. If anything, I think with the clear and present threat that Trump is to Canada, I don't think anybody should get a summer vacation when it comes to government. Not this year. Oh God, yes. They were purchased, weren't they? I think they were purchased by somebody. I seem to remember them at one point. But yeah, good old turquoise resources. But now, of course, Now, when I hear resources, I always think of Canadian natural resources. So CNQ, one of my favorites for sure. Let's see. The resources can help pay for healthcare and education. Yeah, I mean the resources can really help with a lot of things. Um, I I don't want to say ironically, but if we were fully utilizing our resources, um, I could even see a country where we don't have to tax as much as we do. Like Canada is really heavily taxed. Um, it shouldn't be that way. We have the resources. We should be a rich country. The taxes shouldn't be a crippling. Like people shouldn't be crippled by taxes. So there's a lot. I think there's a lot that we could definitely do for sure. All right, guys, we're getting there. So if you got your final questions, your last minute questions, your last whatever questions, get them in. Get them in. I'm going to have some coffee while I'm waiting on that because we are getting there. Um, we might all need a little bit of an energy tonight so that we can be ready for that election tomorrow. Mm. Oh gosh, that was so good. It was also getting a little cold, but that's fine. That's fine. Um, Rory, Rory fell asleep. Oh boy. I guess I'm gonna have to make the show a little more fun, a little more interesting, so people don't fall asleep. Paul says last fall was asking for liberals to release green slush fund documents. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Well, we'll have to see what what documents we're going to be asking for next time. But I would love, I would love to actually have no scandals for at least for the next little bit. Like I said, I want and I've already said this. Like I would love to see, cross-party support. Let's just get this whole, let's get this Trump thing out of the way. Let's get these red tape out of the way. I mean, look at what is happening right now. You've got a lot of the provinces stepping up, the premier stepping up. You got Doug Ford and you got Tim Houston making deals to make it easier for just to move stuff back and forth. Really it's been the premiers who have done more so far to help Canada when it comes to this the whole trade situation. So knowing that the premiers have all been stepping up and doing a good job with each other, there's no reason I think that the government can't as well. Depending on now, mind you, and this is the one danger. If we get a minority government, either conservative or liberal minority, I have a feeling we'll fall into that whole let's topple the government mode for a bit, and that I don't want to see. I mean, we've kind of went through that. With and fair enough. I mean, we all wanted Trudeau to go, but we've listened to the carbon tax election, all of that for the last little while. Well, we got our election now. Let's live with the results. If we get a minority government, just work together, guys. Work together. That's all I ask for. That's all I want is for the government to work together for sure. Philly says, I find your show fun and interesting. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And Rory says, I only slept 4 hours last night and had to do stuff early. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. That's okay. I was just having some fun at Rory's expense, but I was having some fun. What can I say? You give me an opening, I will take it. I will take it for sure. Probably one of the best ones. This guy I was working with once, the boss came in and he said to the boss, like, because he was doing nothing, and he was like, you notice I'm doing nothing? It's because I'm revolting. And I'm like, yes, you are. But it was just that perfect opening. I will take an opening. I love. It's actually funny. I think part of it is when I was growing up, I really loved British humor. So the drier the joke, the better. Like I loved like Monty Python. I found Faulty Towers was a hoot. So yeah, definitely appreciate the British humor, and sometimes that will probably you'll probably notice a little bit of British influence in my humor. As you know, now that you know that it's there, you probably will notice it even more. Paul says, before the Liberal government ethics violations and scandals, the biggest scandal was a glass of orange juice by Mike Duffy and resigned for it. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's kind of like as our politics get more American like, so do our scandals. They get bigger. They get bigger. Mr. Bean. Yeah, Mr. Bean is funny. Um, Also, I mean, actually, one of the funny things I remember is I think that was the Black Adder Christmas Carol. That one I thought was hilarious. Basically, if you're not familiar with the Black Adder Christmas Carol, it was basically like a Christmas Carol, but it was backwards. So basically, he was too good. So the ghosts were coming and trying to get him to be a little bit more, more Scroogey, I guess, kind of working in the opposite direction. But it was funny. It was very funny. I kind of recall that there was a now that might have been Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean, I think, is the one. I think that character of his got his head stuck in a turkey, and that was hilarious. One shrubbery. Interesting. Are you being served? There we go. Yeah, more British humor. You gotta love it. Philly says I love Dickens. Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm a fan. I'm a fan for sure. But you know, this is not the time of the year we should be talking about Christmas. So Jabberwocky. There we go. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing, British humor, a lot of fun. And it doesn't even have to be like, off the wall. Like even things like Red Dwarf, I thought was a pretty good show. Very, very inventive. So, not too shabby at all. Holy banana bread. All right, guys. I think we've hit the end. I think we hit the end for this one. We will be back on Wednesday. Um, Christmas is only 8 months away. Yep, that is true. That is true. Um, we will be back, of course, on Wednesday. We'll have our market close and we'll dissect. We'll dissect the polls. We'll do that on Monday. We'll do that on Wednesday. Why not? Yeah. So until next time, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully, you're having a warm weekend. Get out and vote if you haven't tomorrow, and we'll be back here on Wednesday. We'll do it all over again. Until then, guys, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.